Good evening, Cardinals. It is me, once again, Mr. Ernst, here to talk about Part 8. I remembered it was Part 8 this time. So we're going to be talking about Part 8 of your lesson. So let's get right into it. Teachers at the middle school suspect that student success in science is closely related to success in math. This is true. Spoiler alert. To test that idea, they collected first quarter grade averages for a random sample of 15 students. The mean math score for the 15 students is 73.3. The mean science score is 78.3. What do these numbers tell you about student performance in the two subjects? Okay, so both of these, the mean math score and the mean science score, what do these numbers tell you about the student performances in the two subjects? So, we have 15 different students, right? This is a student, this is a student, this is a student. We have 15 different students here. This is all their math scores, and this is all their science scores. So let's say this first person was named Bill. Bill got a 70 in his math class, and he has an 85 in his science class. And essentially, we're looking at whether, in other words, if you have a good math score, does that mean you're also going to have a good science score? Cool? So, what does the mean mean? When we're looking at statistics, there are three different things we're looking at. We're looking at mean, we look at median, and we're looking at the mode. The mean, I like to remember as the one that makes you do the most work, so it's mean to us. It's not nice. It's cruel. So mean is where we're going to add all of the numbers up, so we would add up all 15 of these numbers, and then we'd have to divide it by 15. So we'd have all of the numbers divided by the number 15 to give us the mean. So essentially what it's doing is you are collecting all of these, and then you're going to evenly distribute it. So you're finding the average. Median. Median is the value that is in the middle. Again, to do this, you do have to line up all of these numbers. So this is actually going to be the answer for B. To do problem B, you need to line up all of these numbers in numerical order. So you have to start with the smallest number. So let's see, we have a 50. 50 looks like the smallest, so 50 is first. Cross that off. Then I need the second smallest, 55. Looks like 55. And so on. So this is looking for the median for math scores. So to solve this one, you have to put all of these numbers in order, all 15, and you're going to look at the number that's in the very, very center. That's going to be your median. The mode is the number in the data that simply happens the most. So you don't need to line them up to find the mode. The median is the only one that requires you to do a lineup. The mode is simply you're looking for the number that happens the most. So if I'm looking through here, I see an 80, I see an 80, I see an 80, I see an 80. That might be the one that appears the most. I'm not actually counting the other ones right now. You're finding the one that happens the most. Both of these are for the math scores too. So that's I guess B and C. Back to question A, focusing on the mean. So what this is saying is this student, or for all of the students, the mean math score was 73%, and the mean science score was 78%. So what do these numbers tell you about student performance in the two subjects? I want you to talk about average. What does average mean to you? What do you think of when you think of average? And that's what you're going to be looking at when you're answering this question. Cool? So for this one, I want you to describe what it means for something. What does it mean to find the average of something? For this one, line all of the numbers up and find what's in the middle. And for the median, or I'm sorry. Oh. Wait a second. I have made an error. Both of these ask you for the same thing. Okay, so this was supposed to be mode. However, if you basically give me the same answer here as here, I'm not going to count that against you because I technically asked you the same question twice, and that's on me. But this is supposed to be mode. So if you are finding mode, you're just finding which number occurs the most. Cool? That's the first three questions. Let's move on to the back ones. On the next part, we have D, E, and F. First one's a multiple choice. This scatter plot shows the math and science performance of the sample students. So everything we saw on this previous page where we had all of the students, all of this data, all 15 of these points, X value, Y value, and they plotted all 15 of those points right there. So that's all of our students, are those dots. Once they had all the dots in there, they created a trend line that goes through it. Multiple choice. Which of the following is the best estimate of the correlation coefficient relating math and science scores? As a reminder for you, correlation coefficient talks about how close the data is in a graph. Cool? So 0, if you have a correlation coefficient of 0, there is no pattern whatsoever. The dots are completely scattered everywhere, and it is impossible to draw a good line through it. Okay? If you have a positive 1 correlation coefficient, the lines are lined up perfectly. If you have a correlation coefficient of 5, the lines are still positive, so they're still moving in a positive way, but they're a little bit more spread out. If you have negative 0.5, it's going to look very much like this one, except it's going to be going downwards. Like that. And finally, negative 1 is going to be the opposite of this one. In other words, it's going to be moving straight down, like this. So your job is to look at this data here, and you're going to pick one of these 5 options, okay? So which one of those would you say relates to it? Now I want you to keep in mind these ones are not 1, 0.5, zeros in there, negative 0.5 and negative 1. So these ones are going to kind of hang out in between. So 0.8 would be somewhere in here, and so on and so forth, okay? So that's what you're going to do for that one. E, are most of the scores above or below the average? Well, once again, the average is going to kind of be represented by this trend line here. So again, you have the trend line. So you're looking at, are most of the scores above or below the trend line? Finally, question F. Point J has coordinates 80 and 95, right here. 80 and 95. But the trend line goes through 80 and 84, right here. What is the residual of point J? Remember that residual, for each one of these points here, residual means the distance from the point itself, the actual data point, to the line. We learned this a little earlier in the year. So your job, each one of those, that is all the residuals there. Your job is you're looking for what is the residual of specifically point J. So you're going to find what is the distance from here to here, okay? And you can do that by using this point and this point. Cool? All right, folks, that is all the questions for part 8. For this one, I didn't give you guys the answers for it. Instead, I kind of tried to show you how to actually solve it this time around. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out and talk to me. And yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.